Alright, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today, we're watching Scary Stories. Somebody requested it. I kind of forgot who. Sorry. But we're watching Scary Stories today. They're all animated. So, yeah.
Get money, yeah, yeah. Get money, yeah, yeah.
I used
Dunkin Donuts. Dough ruts.
to work the graveyard shift at a Dunkin Donuts. For those of you who don't know what a Dunkin Donuts is, it's basically a donut chain that sells coffee, breakfast items, and of course, donuts. This brings me to a little over a month ago when our location was recently selected to become 24 hours. A lot of other establishments would maintain a 24-hour drive-through window, but ours was fully open. I'll be honest, it was interesting to see the new types of customers who would come in during these hours. We of course had the hip
Plop, I'm in the middle of a video. Oh my. Alright, you know what? You can stay. You want to listen to a scary story?
hipsters and goths who had nothing better to do at 3 a.m. than to sit in a coffee shop drinking one cup for an hour. There were the occasional overworked businessmen and interns
You can't even see
trying
this man's eyes.
desperately to finish that last-minute presentation. A couple weeks
Bro.
ago, I had encountered a new type of customer, though he is very difficult to describe.
Chill.
Have you ever met someone that makes you nervous for some unknown reason?
Yeah.
Well, at around 2:30 a.m., a man walked in with a large overcoat, with a
Jeez Louise, this man could be an NBA star. Hey, chill. I'm not gonna let you sit here if you are attacking my cord. No, That's your last straw.
collar pulled up, and a black beanie on his head. What struck me as odd first was the lack of people in our lobby.
Yeah,
Normally at this
Nah. No, no. No, you're getting off. Oh. None. Chief. I need you. I'm not abusing my cat. Okay, YouTube, do not demonetize me. Alright. Are you gonna chill? You better. I swear, dude.
time, we'd have the goths huddled in the corner cursing the system or something. But the entire store was empty aside from this man, myself, and my manager who was in the back. Probably sleeping or something. After this person walked in, I thought it had to be a homeless man, trying to escape the cold and possibly seek out a hot cup of pity. But then I saw his
Look at this man's face.
face. He was somewhat gaunt, but cleanly shaven. His eyes had dark circles around them as if he were tired, but he seemed quite energized. He then walked up to the counter. At that moment, I realized how tall this
He is so tall, like, holy, look at this.
I was. Like Kobe tall. I asked him what he would like to order. He just stared straight ahead as if he were zoning out. I repeated my question a bit louder. He only said one word. Coffee.
Coffee.
The man then leaned down and looked me in the eye and asked me if I was alone. I told him I wasn't, that my manager was in the back room. He then pulled out a few crumpled up dollar bills, handed it to me, and then walked back out of the door without taking his coffee with him. As soon as he left the building, I felt this intense atmosphere lift up from around me. I was at a loss.
So this man just comes up to him, coffee. Coffee. He makes the coffee and he just drops. He's like, "Are you alone?" No, my manager's in the back. He drops off the money and just zooms.
For words, to be honest. I quickly rushed to the back and told my manager about the whole situation, to which he told me to put the man's money aside in case he comes back for it. The next night, everything was back to normal. The usual customers sat in their respective seats sipping their coffee. While I was keeping myself busy and mopping the floor, I couldn't help but think about the interaction I had
Hey, man, whoa, man. Why is he just...
last night.
Look.
That's when I happened to look out of our front window. I saw him.
Man,
He was
look how
standing
tall
across the
he
street
is.
under a streetlight. He was just standing there, staring at me. I turned to see if my manager was behind the counter, and when I looked back, he was gone. At that point, I was starting to feel unnerved.
You're dead,
My
man.
last night working there was the worst by far. And also the reason I quit.
Oh,
I had arrived
no.
at work and relieved the people working before me. That's when I received a call from my manager telling me that he had a family emergency and would be a few hours late.
Yeah.
I was upset, but there wasn't much I could do, so I just said all right. After 3 uneventful hours of me cleaning the same racks over and over again to keep my mind off things, I glanced out of the window
He's
once
there.
more.
He's there.
What I saw made my blood turn to ice. The man was standing on the other side of the window. He was grinning at me with a sinister smile.
What
that caused
in
my body to
the...
seize up.
Oh my, look at
Right
this
away,
man's
I pulled out my cell phone and
wingspan.
called the police. While my phone was ringing, the man did something strange. Without peeling his eyes from the glass, he pulled out a cell phone from his pocket. I watched him carefully as he began to type something into the phone without even looking at it. At that moment, my phone buzzed, notifying me of a text. The message said, "Now
Donut boss? Wait, donut boss.
you're alone."
Oh my god. Yo. Hold up. What? Alright, this one is called There's a Man in the Woods. So, it's another animation. All of them are going to be animations. So, let's get into it. I like the animation style.
There's a man in the woods. What a spectacle. Before the story started, this school was still respectable.
Bars?
My students used to skip down the hill to the honeysuckle, pluck a couple, and collect their nectar till they picked their fill. Except one obnoxious kid, Sid, who just watched them eat the flowers while he seethed and scowled because he couldn't bear to share his sweet treats throughout our recess hour. I remember Sid saying, "There's a man in the woods." That's how the rumors began. Of course, Sid had spotted him first. The poor kids. He got him immersed in his spiel about a serial
What in
killer
the
whose gun barrel
world?
glint hints at peril. A visit to the nurse, or worse, a hearse, waiting just beyond the dale. The children saw him everywhere. "Look, over there! That man had Batman ears, we swear, and crazy yellow eyes. We saw
What?
something rusty. His shotgun? It must be. I saw a lady's severed thigh." Trust me,
Oh my
every word
god.
I heard was absurd. Yet each day, Sid would stray down way past the playground.
Oh, he
Who else was
knew.
brave enough to save us from the killer's next plot? The rest of the lot would stop back at the blacktop.
The teacher knew.
Sure that
Did
any
he do
closer
anything
they were
about it?
bound to be found deep in the woods, left to rot. I pleaded for the kids to think and learn to be mature, but after a few more rumors doomed my attempts to prove the school was secure, their fear was undeterred, and when the buses
That's a
drove
savage,
them all home,
dude.
the parents finally heard.
Oh.
Everything just blew up. I received a wall of emails and calls full of shrieks, wails, and all from terrified families who'd heard word
Look
of
at
the
Sid,
murder
dude.
and didn't like my lack of
Look at Sid. He literally is just acting like he doesn't know anything that's going on right now.
action at all. What was I supposed to do? Comb the whole forest? Yeah, right. Would you? That means I didn't care? That's not fair. The stories that were you weren't true. Of course I would feel regret had there been a real threat and I ignored it, and some poor kid got kidnapped while the kids were napping. But you couldn't admit that your good little kid would formulate a fib, so you ignored what I said.
This is
your
just
little
bars.
angels could never cook up such incredible creations. An overactive imagination maybe, but my kid could never lie. How dare I? Accuse a child of being dishonest? Just monstrous. The parents were displeased, and when the PTA took action, they dismissed me from the classroom. Like they knew what was best for their kids. Do you know
This
how
is getting
difficult
intense.
it is to get a job when a bitter mom slanders your rep with child neglect from the outset? Now who's in control of your classes? Single file lines? Single file lines, little
Oh my God!
Really? Are you blind? Will you find your spines? Sid, a child decides to fill our minds with lies, and the next thing you see is people treating me like I'm committing crimes. I was in my prime! Those kids were lucky to have me. Do you see what you did?
Jeez, dude.
But I can play along. I can be good. Do you hear that, Sid? There's a man in the woods.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Round of applause. Dude, that was just a straight poetry slam right there, dude. It was just straight rhymes. Alright, next animation. Okay, this one is called Scary Skinwalker Horror Story, animated by Axeman Cartoons. Alright, let's watch. Skinwalker.
My family and I live in Arizona, and we occasionally visit our Navajo family in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We left early to get there by noon or less. It is a very long and boring trip there, but we get there before noon and we have time to mess around and talk
Oh, y'all see that man running?
with our extended family. And we, kids, start to play around till the evening starts to show.
Look at that animation. That's sick.
The house is too small for everyone to fit and sleep in. Some of the kids have to sleep in the trailer and truck camper, but two of my cousins and I had the amazing luck of sleeping in the old, slightly torn tent. We are well asleep at this point, and for some unknown reason, I wake up. Of course, I'm still tired and rubbing my eyes while yawning, meaning I wasn't well aware of my surroundings. Once I finish rubbing my eyes, I look straight at the entrance of the tent and see a figure, illuminated by the back porch light, standing in front of the tent. At first I was scared, but thought it was my other cousins just messing with us. As this person was still standing outside our tent looking at us, I turned to one of my older cousins who was 2 years older than me to wake him up and tell him that someone was standing outside of our tent. He tries to brush me off, but I persist and he turns to me and asks me what I wanted. I tell him to look at the entrance of the tent, and he does. I've never seen someone go from the brink of sleep to sheer panic and alertness in their eyes that fast before. He looks at me with this panicked face and tells me to be quiet. He whispers to me that it's a skinwalker and that we need to be quiet again. We lay there for the longest time, and from my memory it was at least an hour or more. We were just about to go back to sleep because it hadn't done anything. Then it started to move around the tent.
Oh my. I think it's Naruto running around the tent. Oh my.
Remember when I said this was an old tent? Yeah, it had some holes in it.
Great, even better.
One of the holes was the size of a
Oh
quarter,
my
and I decided to be brave. As it continues to walk around the tent a fourth time, I slowly crawl towards the hole and try to take a look.
You're dumb.
As I did this, my cousin told me to get back to the bed or it'll hurt us. Of course, as a kid, I ignored the warning. I'm at the quarter-size hole and looking out to see whatever it was. It comes around the hole, and what I saw was bone-chilling.
Oh my. What the? That thing went from a human
I
to
go
a
back
wolf
and hide under my
fast.
sleeping bag while my cousin does the same. This thing decided to stop moving and start looking at us again. I hid under the covers and spent every ounce of
my
energy
God.
being scared. And then I finally fell asleep.
Dang.
I woke up early, maybe around 5, and I decided to look around the tent to see if there was anything there. I see footprints, bare footprints that send shivers throughout my body. I saw the footprints move around the tent. This hit me hard
dang.
because I was now realizing it wasn't a dream. As I further investigate the footprints, I noticed that it went off track. It went off to the rocky hills nearby where we were staying at. I followed the track to the hills about a football field away from the house. As I continue to follow the
Why would
tracks,
you-
something
why?
strange and scary happens. It goes from 2 footprints walking for a while to footprints and handprints in the dirt starting to form.
What
I
the?
found that kind of strange because no person would do that out here. As I followed the tracks further into the
Yeah, but what
hills,
if it
the
wasn't
hands
a
and
person?
feet started to get smaller and smaller. It then subtly changed into coyote paw prints. That is when I stopped and turned back home, first walking fast,
Yeah,
then onto a
I'm outta
full-on
there.
run. When I got back, I sat down on the back porch for a while and thought about telling my family, but I didn't think that they would believe me. In the end, I didn't tell anyone, even the cousin I woke up in the middle of the night.
What? But he was there.
Well, that's my story. I urge you guys to not go into the Navajo reservation to go looking for them. You will bite off more than you can chew. We, my people, take these beings very seriously
God.
and do our best to not talk about them. Even though I broke this code, I just thought to warn you guys about them. Whoever is listening are the first people to hear this story. I had a few more stories to tell, but this is by far the scariest one I had.
Dang. Oh. That was intense, dude. Alright, next animation. Alright, this man hasn't uploaded in a while, but y'all already know Llama Arts is the true animator here. He's like probably the best one, to be honest. So, there's a bunch of these I haven't seen. Let's go with... we didn't see this one right here. A Creepy Christmas Time story animated. Let's go. Llama Arts, shout out to you. I'm already subbed. Boom.
It was November of 2006.
Oh, his voice
I was
changed.
a 16-year-old kid living in the town of Altoona, Iowa. I went to bed early one night because I had to work the early shift at McDonald's. As I slept, I
McDonald's.
had a dream that I was running through downtown Des Moines, but I wasn't on a jog. I was running from something. As I ran around the corner of a building, I came face to face with my pursuer. A tall man wearing a trench coat and a top hat stood in front
What
of me.
in the...
The only thing visible of his face was his eyes. They were abnormally large with black pupils, and it looked at me.
Your
as if
eyes
it
are
wanted
large
something.
too. What do you mean?
After what felt like hours, he reached out his bony hand, as if he wanted me to go with him. I woke up violently from my dream, and after catching my breath, I peered around my room to see if I was safe. As I stood up from my bed, I noticed that I could see my breath. Feeling confused, I checked my window. It was latched shut. I then walked over and checked my vent. I could still feel warm air coming from it. As I sat back down on my bed, I tried to figure out what exactly was going on. That's when the figure from my dream appeared at the foot of my bed. I scrambled back to my headboard.
What do you want?
I asked, trying to hide the shakiness in my voice. With the same bony finger, it pointed at me. Growing up in a religious home, I believed what I was looking at was a demon. I told the creature to leave. It just waved its finger at me, and with a low voice, it spoke to me.
Never leave. Always here.
Oh my god.
The creature then screamed loudly and disappeared. A feeling of nausea came over
What
me,
the?
and I vomited on my floor. The last thing I remember was cleaning myself up and waking up to my alarm. It's been about a
Was
month
it a
since
dream
I had
inside a
seen the
dream?
top hat wearing man in my bedroom. The Christmas season was in full effect. My parents weren't home because they got invited to some kind of event, so it was only me and my 3 sisters at home. I had to wake up early in the morning for work, so I decided to go to sleep. I rested my head on my pillow and closed my eyes. Not even 30 seconds passed until my sisters burst into my room and started singing obnoxious songs. This of course made me very angry, but I thought if I ignored them that they would leave me alone. This was not the case. As I pulled the blankets over my head, I started to feel the same cold feeling that I had in November. As the obnoxious singing subsided, I lowered the blanket below my eyes and saw the man standing in the corner of my room. In
Get
one
out of there.
swift motion,
Jump
he
out the
charged
window.
towards me, and I blacked out. When I finally came to, I found that my sisters had locked themselves inside the bathroom. As I knocked on the door, they told me to go away. I asked them what happened, and all they could say was Mom and Dad were on their way home.
His hand is
I
bleeding.
looked down and saw that my hand was slightly bloody. Holes were in the bathroom door, and a broom was sticking out of the wall.
What
I
the?
then walked into the living room and found that there were knives stuck into the wall as well. The same wave of nausea passed over me, just like in November, and I threw up again.
Oh my
As I was
God.
cleaning up, my parents walked through the door. My father immediately walked over to me and gave me a good beating. Then he sent me
Dang.
to my room. I went to bed crying. Not from the beating. I was crying because of the confusion. I had no idea what was going on. The next morning, my sisters reluctantly sat next to me and told me what had happened. They said I got angry and chased them down and tried to hurt them. They said my eyes were red to the point where they thought I was bleeding from them. They said I sounded like a different person. In 2011, that was the last time I saw the top hat wearing man.
Oh
I
my,
just
this man
moved
really
into a
doesn't
new
leave.
apartment, and after a long, stressful day of unpacking, I took a shower and got ready for bed. As I started to drift off, I could feel that cold feeling again. I lifted my head and saw the man standing in front of me.
I'm done.
The man's eyes were red now. With a low voice, just like on that November night, it looked at me and said,
Never leave. Always here.
That one was okay. I don't know how I feel about that one. No offense, Llama Arts. That one was just like same thing over and over again. But hope y'all enjoyed. Whoever requested it, appreciate it. I wouldn't have done it if you wouldn't have requested it.
I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out. Bye-bye.